Welcome to, or welcome back to Stitch and Soil. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be chatting to you while I repair this giant Squishmallow I got secondhand. It's got a couple of holes in it, nothing like major, but as someone with fibromyalgia, I use these as a cushion a lot for pain relief, but like it needed a little bit of TLC first. So while I set this up, I want to talk to you about why I think Squishmallows are a really great support tool for people living with chronic illnesses. If you deal with chronic pain, fatigue, sensory sensitivities, you might already know how important it is to have soft, comfortable things in your life. But Squishmallows, they're next level, honestly. Let's get into it. So I bought this giant 24-inch Squishmallow off Vintage where I get pretty much everything. And I got it at a really reduced price because the seller said, oh, it's got like a couple of holes in it, it'll need fixing. But I can actually only find one that needs sewing up. The rest are sort of just little marks, they're not even holes at all. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to sew over it, sort of stop it fraying from any more, and then to make it look nicer, I've got this little butterfly patch, so I'm going to sew that over the top of it. So it sort of, probably won't even notice it when it's done, but just so it doesn't fray a lot more along the line, just to keep it in good health for a long time. So if you're not familiar with Squishmallows, the best way I can describe it is they're made of this sort of almost microfiber-ish fleece, which makes them like ridiculously soft, and they've got this like really plush, like marshmallowy, like it's next level soft. Like if you've never felt one, go to the shop and like feel one, because I can't even explain. Anyway, it's so gentle on your skin, so if you've got something like I've got, fibromyalgia, which makes your skin really sensitive, probably works the same for like the EDS as well, it's an absolute lifesaver. Normal cushions, like I guess this one I've got here, it's so like rough and stiff, but this one just, I don't know if you can see it, it molds around you. It's great. One of the symptoms of fibromyalgia is this thing called allodynia, I'm not entirely sure. I've heard it pronounced both ways. But basically it makes your skin and your muscles and everything so sensitive to even the lightest touch that like even something like just going like that, not even pinching very hard, on a bad day, that can feel like extremely painful. So having something really soft that just molds around me is just so great to have on a bad day when everything else touching you feels like absolute needles in your skin. They're so much more useful than just your standard like soft toy, stuffed animal type thing. I use mine in a variety of different ways. I use them like as a pillow when I'm sleeping. I use them to lean on when I'm sat in chairs, like to support my joints and stuff. They're sort of just firm enough to support an aching joint, but not too firm that it like puts pressure on it and sort of fights back against it. So it's sort of, I've never experienced memory foam, but I imagine it's similar in the way that it just sort of molds around you. So they're great to like prop up like arms, legs, neck, or anything where you need a little bit of extra support that's not gonna like aggravate it. Another thing I love, especially with these like giant ones, is that they've got almost that like weighted blanket effect, because they're pretty heavy, but not quite as heavy as a weighted blanket. So I've got a weighted blanket as well, and it's a good couple of kilograms. Like on a bad day, I can't carry it down the stairs on my own, because it's almost like lifting a whole person. Like I've seen people do workouts with a rolled up weighted blanket. They can get pretty heavy. I think that's kind of the point of it. But what I'm trying to say is these are not heavy enough that you couldn't lift on a bad day, but they still provide that same like pressure that can be really soothing, not just for a chronic illness, like for someone with sort of like anxiety and autism who feels that sort of heightened level of being overwhelmed. The weighted effect can be really calming. So I'm just starting to sew the patch on now. want to make sure it's the right way up, because if it's not, that's going to really annoy me later on. So because the wing's pointing out this way and the tail's pointing out that way, so it's should be like that. Okay. I've forgotten my pins. They're upstairs, and I don't want to have to get up to go and get them. So I'm just gonna have to concentrate really hard on keeping it in the same position so I can sew it in exactly the right place. Ooh. So for the next thing, obviously you get a couple of funny looks carrying around a Squishmallow as an adult, but they are so much more portable than like your standard like joint support pillow. Like I bring them to the doctors, like I bring them on public transport and stuff sometimes, when just carrying around like a pillow it would be too bulky, it would just be a bit silly, whereas just having like a little stuffed animal in your hand, it's kind of different. It's more portable is what I'm trying to say. So I'm in like focus mode now, trying to get this stitched on straight. Also I find it's really soothing as well, having my little stuffed animal with me at the doctors and at the dentist and that, because I get really anxious in like clinical environments, and a lot of the time I go on my own as well, which makes it even more scary, considering the fact that I get scared just being on the bus on my own. So having a little something to kind of squish onto and to comfort me, I enjoy it, and it's very nice. And if you're like me and you rely on your Squishmallow a lot and you take it everywhere, then it's gonna get pretty dirty along the way. But they're so easy to take care of. They're machine washable, so you can literally just put them. I tend to put them straight in the washing machine, but you can also put it in a pillowcase if you don't want to like get it knocked around and that. And just put it on like a normal sort of gentle-ish wash. And then, you know, done, clean. I feel like it would be really hypocritical if I was like, yeah, this is a really good product for a chronic illness, and then it's really hard to maintain and you have to do a lot of work. So the fact that it's machine washable is an absolute bonus for a chronic illness product. The fact that there's no extra labour involved, you can just put it in the washing machine, bam, done. I kept almost saying dishwasher then. You don't want to put your Squishmallow in a dishwasher. The price point as well is something I've like alluded to but not directly spoken about. So obviously products that are directly marketed as like disability supports, they can be quite expensive, I've found anyway. But like I said before, I got this second hand, so I'm not entirely sure how much they are to buy new. I would imagine at least like £20, 20 and upwards for this like 24-inch one, but I got it for £5 on Vinted because there was like a little bit of TLC involved. Obviously that's not accessible for everyone, but I enjoy sewing, you know, I enjoy my little crafts, so it was a bit of a bonus to me that I could get it cheap and also have a little something to do. So Vinted is pretty much saturated with Squishmallows, most of them in pretty perfect condition, some of them just need sticking in the wash. So they're at a pretty accessible price point to buy second hand anyway. I've never actually bought one new, so I couldn't comment on that, but they are very available second hand, so if you're on a budget, I don't imagine it'll be an issue. So I've only done the bottom of it so far. I'm using kind of a whip stitch around just because I don't think this fabric is prone to fraying, but I just think with the amount of wear and tear that these things get in my household, I'm just trying to protect it as much as I can from the hole getting any bigger, so I've done like a whip stitch around the edge. I'm going to just continue to do that to then sort of protect it and like keep the hole contained. I also think as well that having a chronic illness or a disability, or both, it can be really lonely, it can be really isolating. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have not been able to leave my house in at least 2 weeks. I think it's closer to about a month. And I'm not gonna say like I don't need human contact when I have my Squishmallows. It's not like that. Obviously I'm still getting human contact. I live with my partner, so as soon as he gets home from work, all the yapping that I haven't been able to do throughout the day goes directly onto him. So I still get my daily dose of human contact. But it's, you know, when you're stuck in the house like this, it's nice to surround yourself with, you know, nice comfy things that you like, little cute creatures that I guess are my little substitute for human contact during the day. And as well, when I'm having like a complete flare-up day, when I can't get out of bed, can't talk to anyone, can't even lift my head, just having this intensely comfortable pillow that I can just sink into, it's absolute heaven. Like some days on a really bad pain day, even resting my head on a normal pillow, just lying on my bed, it hurts. So to have this thing that molds to the, you know, the unique contours of my body and sort of caresses the pain areas without pressing back on them, it's just top tier. I love it. But I'm almost done. I'm just going round the final wing of the butterfly patch. Another thing I love about using Squishmallows as a disability aid is that it's very discreet as well. Because as much as I try to be open and stuff about my disabilities, I do find it makes me feel quite vulnerable to talk about. Like, it's gotten to stages in the past where I've, you know, had to use a walking stick. It makes me feel like when I'm using my walking stick in public that like everyone's staring at me, everyone's thinking about me. Let's be real, they're probably not. But what I'm getting at is a Squishmallow draws the eye a lot less than someone my age using like a mobility aid, because let's be honest, I'm an autistic woman in my early 20s, of course I'm going to like Squishmallows. Visibly you probably couldn't tell that I'm disabled, I've got a chronic illness and everything, so it's a lot more jarring for people to see me using my cane and stuff. So what I'm trying to say is, having a Squishmallow as a disability aid, it provides me with that comfort of knowing no one's staring really. I'm just a girl with a teddy. Like, the anxiety is very high around that, and using a Squishmallow instead of like an actual marketed disability aid, it does also help me retain a sense of normality as well. So it helps me retain a sense of normality in the sense that I don't have all these medical aids lying around my house. I've got soft toys, I've got a weighted blanket, I've got this and that. So it doesn't feel like I'm any different to anyone else my age, if that makes sense. I have migraines a lot as well, and usually when I'm having a migraine, I find the only thing that helps is to just completely shut off like all light, and like not putting my face in a normal pillow, it doesn't sort of contour in the same way that a Squishmallow would. Like, a Squishmallow would just completely absorb my whole head and just block out the light from all sides, whereas a pillow wouldn't quite stretch around in the same way. Does that make sense? So I find that they're also really good for having a migraine to just like stuff your face into. It's soft on the skin so it doesn't aggravate anything, but it still blocks out all the light in the way that you really need when you're having a migraine. So I finished my whip stitching around the edge there. That is never coming off in a million years, and it's pretty heavy, and it's on the back, so it doesn't really impact the use of it at all. So my Squishmallow is officially patched up and ready to go. I hope this video was helpful. I know I was a little bit rambly because I couldn't concentrate very much when I was sewing, but I hope it was helpful whether you're already a Squishmallow fan or just looking for ways to make a chronically ill or disabled life a little bit more comfortable. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Any sort of engagement really helps the channel. And let me know in the comments, do you use your Squishmallow for, you know, chronic illness or disability related reasons? Had you done it like automatically and never really thought about it as a disability? I've been using these things for years and years as an aid for my disability and never really thought that that's what I've been doing. I was just sort of doing it anyway. But yeah, let me know. Do you use them for like pain relief, comfort, that sort of thing, anxiety relief? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.